It sold for 120 million.
Sold.
It's been stolen twice. The Nazi tried to destroy it, and the man who painted it may have been losing his mind. But here's what nobody tells you about the scream. The figure isn't screaming, it's listening. January 22nd, 1892, Edvard Munch is walking along a road in Nordstrand on the outskirts of Christiania, what we now call Oslo, Norway. He's with two friends. The sun is going down, and then without warning, everything changes. He would later write in his diary,
I was walking along the road with friends. The sun was setting. Suddenly the sky turned blood red. I paused, feeling exhausted, and leaned on the fence. There was blood and tongues of fire above the blue-black fjord and the city. My friends walked on, and I stood there trembling with anxiety, and I sensed an endless scream passing through nature.
That moment, that overwhelming, terrifying sensation became the seed of the most recognized painting in human history. But what exactly did Munch see that evening? Was it in his head? Was it real? It was both, and the answer is stranger than you'd expect. Nobody can agree on what Munch actually saw that evening. Scientists and historians have been arguing about it for decades. The leading theory, Krakatoa. In 1883, Krakatoa exploded, the most powerful eruption in recorded history. The ash cloud spread across the entire globe, and for months afterward, people across the world reported blood-red skies. Norwegian newspapers documented it. Fire departments were called, thinking cities were burning. A physicist at Texas State University confirmed Munch was facing exactly the right direction. But the other theories. Some researchers believe Munch had synesthesia, where senses crosswire and you literally see sounds. Others say the sky was grief, that Munch had buried his mother and his sister by age 14, and the landscape, the painting isn't Nordstrand at all. It's inside of his own head. And the rival meteorological theory, Norwegian scientists say he saw nacreous clouds, mother of pearl clouds that form in extreme cold and produce exactly those swirling supernatural bands of color. We still don't know, and that ambiguity is part what makes the painting inexhaustible. Let's talk about what you're actually looking at. This is the most important thing most people get wrong. Look at the hands. They're pressed against the ears. Not the mouth, but the ears. Munch's own diary entry is explicit, he sensed.
An endless scream passing through nature.
The figure is not producing the scream, it's being overwhelmed by it. It's trying to block out the scream of the universe. The open mouth may be a gasp of horror, not a shout. Art historian Robert Rosenbaum discovered that the elongated, sexless, larva-like figure was directly inspired by a Peruvian Inca mummy, which Munch saw at the Museum de l'Homme in Paris. The mummy was preserved in a fetal position, knees drawn up, hands pressed against the face, wrapped in hemp sacks, stretched thin by centuries of desiccation. Munch didn't want the figure to look like a person. He wanted it to look like a universal human seed, something dehumanized, stripped of gender, nationality, and individuality. Something that could be you or anyone. Do you see the two dark silhouettes on the bridge? Those are Munch's two friends, the people who are walking with him that evening. They depicted from behind, walking away, indifferent, completely unaffected by Munch is experiencing. This isn't accidental. Munch is painting the fundamental loneliness of overwhelming emotional experience. The fact that no one around you can access what you're feeling. You're screaming inside. The world keeps walking. Notice the violent contradiction in the painting's geometry. Everything is fluent, undulating, almost nauseating, except the bridge railing, which cuts hard diagonals across the composition. The world is melting, but the structures of civilization, the bridge, the path, remains rigid and indifferent. In 1904, a German art critic examined the version of The Scream at the National Gallery in Oslo and noticed something written in pencil in the upper left corner. For over a century, people assumed this was vandalism. A hater, a skeptic with a pencil. Then, in 2021, the National Museum of Norway conducted a forensic analysis. It was Munch himself. But why would an artist write, "can only have been painted by a madman"?
Can only have been painted by a madman.
On his own painting. In 1892, Munch's first major Berlin exhibit was shut down after just 1 week. Conservative artists called his work degenerative and chaotic. In 1895, a psychiatrist, Dr. Schaffenberg, publicly argued in print that Munch's art was evidence of mental illness. Munch internalized all of this. He suffered from a clinical depression. He would eventually check himself into a sanatorium in 1908. But the inscription reads not like defeat. It reads like defiance, like sarcasm, like Munch saying, "Fine, you think I am a madman? Let me write it on the painting. Now it's part of the art." In 1937, Adolf Hitler's regime declared modern art to be Enterrat Kunst, Degenerate Art. Munch's work was included. 82 of his paintings were seized from German museums. That same year, Nazis organized the Degenerate Art exhibit in Munich, Germany, a massive art show designed to humiliate modern artists. Works were hung crookedly. Mocking captions were printed beside them. Millions came. It became, ironically, one of the most attended art exhibits in human history. The confiscated works were sold abroad for foreign currency at the Theodor Fischer auction in Nordstrand, June 30, 1939. Others were burned. In April 1940, Nazi Germany occupied Norway. Munch was 76, living alone at his Elkerly estate, surrounded by thousands of his own paintings. He refused contact with the German occupiers. Then, in December 1943, a massive explosion at the Oslo apartment shattered every window in his home. In the freezing cold, afraid the Nazis would finally seize everything, Munch hid in his cellar. On January 23, 1944, he was 80 years old. In his will, he donated everything to the city of Oslo. The Munch Museum was built specifically to house his gifts. Paul Unger grew up in one of Oslo's poorest districts. Football was his escape, but criminal underworld won. In 1988, he broke into Munch's museum, going for the Scream. He miscalculated its location and walked out with the wrong painting entirely. February 12, 1994, opening night of the Winter Olympics. While the world watched Lillehammer, Unger climbed through a window and took the Scream. On the windowsill, he left a postcard. Scotland Yard recovered the painting 3 months later. Hidden in a secret compartment at Unger's family home, he became a celebrity. He kept stealing. He escaped from prison in 1999 and gave TV interviews while on the run until he was recaptured for attracting too much attention by wearing sunglasses at night. He eventually became an art dealer. He died in 2024, aged 57. His last words on the subject: two men in ski masks sprint toward the museum and straight into the automatic glass doors, dazed in full view of staff and tourists. They waited for the doors to open, then one drew a gun. His accomplice grabbed the Scream off the wall and swore as he buckled under its weight. He grabbed it Madonna too, then staggered out, dropping it twice, while passing tourists stood on the street and calmly photographing them. Norway's top detective had spent 4 months building a case against David Tuska, chess champion, gang leader, and architect of Norway's largest bank robbery. The moment the Scream was stolen, the entire Norwegian police force shifted its attention to the paintings. Tuska fled to Malaga, Spain. It took 2 more years and a dying man's deathbed confession to recover them. Tuska, by then in prison, offered the location in exchange for better conditions. Police offered slightly improved conditions. He told them anyway. The same week the paintings came back, M&M announced they were offering 2 million dark chocolates of M&Ms for their return, a product launch for their new dark chocolate line. The paintings were already at home. The reward was never a reward.